So we'll get started. Welcome everybody. Welcome to the Small Business Marketing Basics workshop presented by the Mentor-Protege Program at the University of Alabama in Huntsville. This presentation is targeted specifically to DBEs and the highway construction industry, but the marketing principles and strategies I'm about to discuss can apply to any small business really. If you're here on the recommendation of your DBE supportive services provider, I would encourage you to reach out to them, sometime after this presentation to use their expertise and resources in implementing some of the tips you're about to receive. So, and also before we get started, I'd like to ask you all to please mute your microphones so we're not getting any feedback. And also, I sent 2 handouts yesterday that I'll be referring to directly or indirectly. We're going to talk specifically about the capability statement questionnaire, and then the definition sheet that I sent is just a reference for some of the terms you'll hear that may be unfamiliar. I first want to introduce myself. I'm Christine Lewis, and I see my name's nowhere on the slide. And I've been a professional writer of some kind for more than 20 years. I started my career in journalism, but I just found I was more interested in advertising than reporting on the comings and goings of politicians. So the marketing aspect of my career actually started in the newspaper business doing display advertising, and then from there I evolved into more marketing communications on a broader scale. Excuse me. You see on the slide here that I've emphasized the word farmhand as part of who I am. And I call that out because I think farming and business ownership both require a special kind of hard work and tenacity. I've been a business owner, and I know that means you're never off. You're always thinking about how to stretch your budget. You're always wondering about how to reach the people who'll give you business and keep you working. So farming and small business both mean you wear a lot of hats, and being your own marketing chief means you save money. So that's what I'm trying to get at with this workshop. Before we start, I want to ask you to remember one important principle that's not here on the screen. I'm going to mention over and over in the coming slides this statement or some iteration of this statement. Good marketing makes a strong, consistent value statement. Strong, consistent value statement. That's what we're going for. But moving on, the subtitle of my presentation is 4 Simple Steps to Marketing Your Business. And those steps include creating the following marketing tools: a website, your business cards, your capability statement, and your online presence, or your online business listing, I should say. What you see on the screen here covers those items in the order I think that they should be done if you haven't done this already. After I explain what brand and branding is all about, we're going to talk about how doing some preliminary work on your capability statement will help you develop the value statements about your business that'll be central in your marketing strategy. I'm going to share some low-cost or no-cost tools to create your basic marketing materials, including your website. And then I'll wrap up the presentation with a few words about why all this matters. And then lastly, before we go, you'll have the opportunity to ask questions. Ms. Stoudemire is going to monitor the chat box and let me know if somebody writes in there or raises a hand, because all I can see right now on my screens is the presentation. So if you have a question, please direct it to Ms. Stoudemire. And I apologize, I feel like I sound a little stiff. I'm slightly under the weather this morning. So My apologies. I'm usually a little perkier, but we'll get through this. So let's get started with some basic information about branding. What does it mean and why is it important? Branding is a combination of the elements you see here. Name, symbol, or logo, it's another term for symbol, your color scheme, and your tagline. And all of those together promote a company's image and make it a recognizable entity to consumers. The end goal is, in essence, to make that brand synonymous with whatever you're selling. So in the case of NASA, when you see that NASA meatball, that's what you call this right here, you automatically think of space exploration or aeronautics or so on. And vice versa, when you think of space exploration, NASA is really the first thing that comes to mind. And that's really the bottom line of branding and marketing. Good marketing makes a strong, consistent value statement. So if you decide you want to become an astronaut or send your kid to space camp or build a rocket, you probably think of NASA first, and then maybe somewhere down the line you might think of SpaceX, but really NASA is the first thing that's going to come to mind. And that's the point of branding and why it's important to think about those elements you see here: the name, your logo, your color scheme, and your tagline. That's your signature as a company. That's NASA's signature. So what message does your business name, logo, color scheme, and tagline communicate to potential customers? And we're going to look at some examples.
Christine, before you go any further,
Mm-hmm.
will the participants have access to your PowerPoint, to the slides?
Yes. If not today, by the end of the week. What's today? Thursday. Yeah. By tomorrow, they should have that. I need to make a few adjustments to it. And there will also be a recording of this. So all of that, putting all that together might take a little bit of time. So yes, I will send people links, and I'll send a copy of this presentation. So any other questions before we move on? Okay. All right, so here we're going to look at some of those branding elements: the name, the symbol or logo, the color scheme, and the tagline, and how these elements are used in marketing. So here we have Roadworks. It's a company in Tennessee, I think. It's a perfect example of good branding because every branding element is represented here. And I want to look at how these elements work together to deliver an immediate message the moment you click on their website. So obviously the name says what they're all about. Says what they're all about. Roadworks. But look at how their symbol, and by that I mean logo, and color scheme reinforce the road construction concept. They're borrowing a recognized image in road construction, the orange caution sign, as part of their logo, and then they're integrating that same color scheme, this orange here, into their website headers. Can you see my pointer? Can you guys see my pointer?
Try it again.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Anyway, so the website headers are in orange, and that's part of what I mean by color scheme. They've got this orange and black here, and then they incorporate that in their website. And this color scheme concept also applies to other marketing material. And Roadworks finishes strong with a tagline that encapsulates their value: experience, equipment, and technology for superior results. So they use the four main branding elements to create a strong, consistent value statement. And if they have a good branding strategy, these four elements appear in all of their marketing communications, as I mentioned a minute ago. So like their capability statement and their brochures. We're going to look at another company called GIBCO. GIBCO Construction also does a great job at branding. They're also using recognized symbols and colors in the construction industry. We've got this sign and yeah, on their logo. Going the extra mile is perfect because they've got a road-related term in there, while the phrase itself also means they can deliver on their service. So they also make a strong, consistent value statement. And another strength here is that GIBCO has their affiliations listed at the bottom of the page here. Alabama Road Builders Association, Tennessee Road Builders Association, and so on. And the benefit of that is that they're adding to their own credibility by associating themselves with other credible industry organizations. And that really needs to be on all of their marketing material. And by marketing material or marketing communication, I mean all of the print or digital tools used to promote business, meaning the capability statements, website flyers. Try not to repeat myself too much, but I think you get the message. So marketing materials and marketing communication, marketing tools, these are all, when I say that, I always mean all of the tools you use to promote your business. Redmond Construction is a DBE firm participating in our Mentor-Protege program. I've worked with Blake Redmond on some of his marketing material, but we haven't gotten to his website yet. For the most part, I think he's on the right track, but I'd like to see a tagline on his website and in all of his marketing material. But, you know, apart from that, he's got, oops, I'm pointing the wrong way. He's got a nice logo here. It says what he does in the name. Yeah, name, symbol, color scheme. And he sticks with this color scheme throughout his website. So this is a good segue from what branding is to how it works in action. But before we move on, I just want to invite your questions. Is there anything I can clarify or expand on before we move on to capability statements part 1? Because we're going to break up capability statements into 2 spots. I'm just going to give a quick look at the chat box and see. Okay.
Don't have any questions right now, Krista.
Okay. I think you all can unmute your microphones. If you do, feel free to interrupt me. That'll be fine. Okay, let's see. Okay, so you should have received a handout with the heading Capability Statement Questionnaire. That is designed to help you define, that is the required information in a standard capability statement. Specifically, the company summary, core competencies, differentiators, and so on. Everything you see here and more, and I'll get into that later in the second part of the capability statement. We're not going to spend too much time going over this capability statement questionnaire together, but it was important to me that you know you have this assistive device to help you define some of your company's value potential. The survey is a 2-page document that asks for some very specific information about your company, and I would strongly encourage you to review it, and if you don't have a capability statement, fill it out and use it. What's the value of this exercise? Well, I know from experience that we tend to downplay our own worth for any number of reasons. We measure ourselves against our competitors, whether we're talking about competing in business or in the family or on the job market, for any place at any table of any kind, really. We measure ourselves against others, and sometimes that's undermining. So the benefit of doing a survey like this is that our responses provide us with written evidence of our value. And I really can't emphasize this enough. I've experienced this over and over and over again in my career, working with people who are trying to find what value they have to offer, trying to define their value, trying to put it into words. So if you do this questionnaire, you'll finish the questionnaire and think, wow, look at all my capabilities. I remember when I had 2 trucks and now I have 5 and the coolest curb and gutter machine ever. Or maybe you say, wow, my safety record is so great. I got an OSHA award or something like that. I mean, these are the kinds of reactions that I've actually gotten when I'm working with clients to help them identify their assets for marketing. So give the survey a look and let your own responses inspire you as you move forward in your marketing work. And this is part 1 of capability. This is why I'm breaking it up, because there's the capability statement questionnaire, and then there's another section on the capability statement. But I think my slides are a little out of order, so I'll just plow right in here. So why do you need a capability statement, and what does branding have to do with it? Well, a capability statement is a marketing tool. It's a resume for your business. And a resume, by the way, is also a marketing tool. In fact, you can apply a lot of the same principles to both types of documents. A resume's purpose is to get you noticed and ultimately get you the job. And the same is true for a capability statement. Both documents convey a text-heavy message about what value you can offer, what qualifications and experience you bring to the table, your credentials, your certifications, and so on. In both cases, resume and capability statement, it's really important to distill a lot of information, a lot of raw data into a concise but impactful document. And it's this raw data that's going to influence all your other marketing material. And that's why we're talking about this now. So assuming you did the capability statement questionnaire, you have now the text format of your capability statement, or at least the raw data that's going to influence putting together your capability statement. So now that you have some idea about the value that you bring to the table, let's think about the logo. So we're covering logos because, and again, this is experience talking, you cannot, or at least you should not, develop a single marketing document without one. You shouldn't develop a single document without a logo, including your capability statement. So logos go on everything that you, all of your material, because they give all of your marketing material some value messaging zing. And you know, it just kind of helps legitimize your business. If you don't have a logo, you should get one. I created these logos, and I'm not kidding, in about 30 minutes using a very simple online tool called Canva. I mean, these aren't logos that knock your socks off, but these are good, decent, simple logos. Canva is a web-based graphic design program. And don't be intimidated by the term graphic design, because you don't need to be a designer to pull this off. Anyway, once you create a free account with Canva, you can access their templates, and they have a huge cache of templates for all kinds of things, including logo styles, which is how I created these. I started with their templates, changed some colors, changed some images and text, and there it is. So it's a low cost or no cost tool. Sometimes you have to pay to purchase an image, like Harrison, you see this this watermark here. That was because I didn't want to pay Canva to purchase this image, but I could have purchased this image and then used it without the watermark on this logo, and it would have been less than $10 or maybe $10. It's been a little while since I've purchased an image through Canva, but they're inexpensive. I'm not going to teach you how to use Canva today, but if you Google Canva tutorial, you'll get a good idea about how learnable Canva is. And I wanted you to know about the application because it means you can do it yourself. You don't need expensive graphic software. You don't need to create something from scratch. And that's why I love recommending this tool to my clients and my DBE program participants. I knew I was going to forget to say this, so I embedded this little hot tip in here. Square logos are easiest to use across various marketing mediums, and by that I mean like your Google business listing. It's easier to use a square logo than a rectangular one. I don't know why that is. You would think that these tools would all have some way to work together, but that's not the reality. So I recommend sticking with a square logo. All right, so suppose you can't find the image you need on Canva. I would recommend buying your images from iStock. And by the way, all these resources will be provided on, I think, the second to last slide or last slide. And I think there will be clickable links so that you can get to Canva, you can get to iStock, and some of the other things that we're going to talk about. So the reason I recommend iStock is because you can purchase your own image, and you know the prices range. I think all of these images that you're looking at right now, I purchased all of these for under $50, and these are images that are now mine that I can use. I mean, other people might be using some of these too, but these I can use without paying a royalty every time because I purchased them to have in my own personal catalog. So you can use whatever image you buy from iStock forever in all of your marketing material. And they have a huge searchable catalog of images and illustrations and graphics. Do not use free images or copy something you found online. For one, those tend to be poor quality. Sometimes you can get viruses from free image websites, and often the image resolution, meaning the clarity of it, is so poor that it comes out blurry on your printed stuff. So spend $10 to $50 on a good quality image from iStock. And I feel like I should say that nobody is paying me to promote these tools, Canva or iStock or anything else we cover here. Again, these are just tools and techniques and programs that I either use frequently or suggest to clients because they're easy to use and inexpensive. Okay, and I'm diving right into the deep end of the pool here. Building a website. It's a huge hurdle for a lot of businesses, but it's no longer as complicated as it once was, and it's no longer as expensive as it once was, thanks to a number of programs out there that let you build from a template. And I mean, we've talked about templates in Canva, and we'll talk about templates in other areas too. And by template, I mean Wix and Canva, and later we're going to talk about Vistaprint business cards. They have designers either on staff or on contract that build these templates that you're seeing right here, that all you have to do is change a few things within the template to customize it to your own needs. So Wix is my favorite because it's about as user-friendly and intuitive as you can get. There are other tools out there. WordPress, I think, is kind of complicated. I've used it and I use it, but it's not as user-friendly as Wix. Weebly is sort of user-friendly, but Wix is just my favorite. If you've never tried building a website from a template, the easiest approach for a beginner is to use their artificial design intelligence tool, ADI, which is what you see here. I mean, which is, you know, I did some screenshots of some fake websites that I was creating. So you see on the slide that it asks you to answer a few simple questions, starting with what industry are you in? And the ADI came up with these 3 designs based on those few questions. And I chose the middle one. So here, let's see if I can make this bigger. Here is the website template that I went with. They gave me 3 choices. And yeah, so this is my first page. Okay, hang on. Once you have your basic website construction, the design interface allows you to add text and images, including the logo we created for this roadways construction earlier, which I forgot to include on this website. You can use a lot of content from your capability statement questionnaire, or the text of your capability statement to fill out the sections that you see here. So this would, on the capability statement, this might be your company summary. And, I recommend modifying this text to fit the medium. But, this is, I'm going back to earlier when I said the capability statement questionnaire is going to help you refine and define your value. So anyway, the company summary and capabilities, your differentiators, all your branding elements are put in place here. Bear with me. I'm having a technical issue here. Hang on. Okay. If I'd continued to build out this website for the fictional company, I would have included the logo and contact information on every page. And that's something that I recommend, because that's also kind of brand consistency, because you want people to find your contact information easily, no matter where they are on your website. I also recommend being consistent on the colors. You want each page to look similar because it's all part of your branding. So each of the marketing and branding activities I've described so far or will describe, they all come together in your website, but they're also all interconnected. Your business listing will refer to your website. Your website displays your logo. Your capability statement is a text version of all your most marketable assets, and it all comes together on your website, your web page. But more importantly, everything you don't have room to say in your logo or your business listing or your business card or your capability statement, it can all be here on your website. And I want you to remember that, because we're going to look at some capability statements where people try to cram everything into the capability statement, but that is not the medium for that. So if you mention past projects on your capability statement, you can actually expand on that on your website using photos and longer descriptions to wow the audience. We call that making it pop in the industry. So you may mention on your business card that you have the latest technology at your disposal. But on your website, you can talk about how those technologies potentially benefit your customers. And maybe your tagline says something about your safety record or an industry award. But on your website, you can actually feature an image of that award or record and make a statement about how that came about. So if you already have a website, this information that I'm giving you right now is a way for you to improve on your current website. And if you don't have a website, these are principles that you should be practicing, once you do start that. So the bottom line is that there are endless ways that you can market your company's value and values on a website. Only about 65% of small businesses have a website, which is a surprisingly small number in my opinion. More than a third do not have websites. And that's really, to me, astounding in this day and age, because setting up a business website might not be the easiest thing in the world to do, especially for a small, busy business owner with limited personnel and maybe not great tech savvy. But doing business without a website can actually create its own difficulties and could potentially put you out of business. Some small business lenders require your website address as part of their validation process. And more importantly, the inclination of most potential customers, vendors, and partners is to consult your business website, excuse me, while they try to decide whether or not to work with you. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. So to win them over, you'll want to at least have a basic business website. And I think that's all I'm going to say about websites for now, because I know that web building is one of the most intimidating aspects of marketing. And I want to give you an opportunity to ask questions as soon as I have a drink of water and clear my throat. So 1 second. See if I can mute myself here. Okay, I think I'm sort of clear. So are there any questions about websites, or is there anything anybody wants me to expand on or say about websites? Because I know that's probably the scariest thing that you are facing as a business owner. So I really want to invite your questions if you have any, or comments. Okay. So moving on. All right, now we're back at capability statements. And I apologize for the slide. I realized yesterday that I had accidentally deleted the original must-have slide, and I kind of threw this together hurriedly. So if you pull out that handout I sent yesterday, the capability statement questionnaire, you'll see that it asks for information under all of these headings. Well, I mean, except maybe title and logo. So I'm pulling that out myself. Doggone. I'm just gonna mute again and try to clear my throat. Hang on. Testing. Okay, sorry. I'm really sorry. All right. So in the capability statement, I mentioned at the beginning of this that this presentation is geared toward road construction. So the questionnaire, you know, the checklist of core competencies, it's all about different types of construction. But, you know, in your own industry, like say you're, I don't know, I think somebody that signed up is actually a financial advisor. And you can think about the keywords in your industry in financial advising or haircutting or whatever. And, you know, like, okay, haircutting is probably better because I know a little bit more about that. Say your core competencies include the diva cut or coloring or whatever. These are the kind of things that you apply, these keywords in your own industry. The differentiators are similar. Man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through this. Are similar, and you kind of apply some of the industry standards to go forward. Oh my goodness. What do I do, Sherry? Sherry, I might have to turn this over.
What was you okay?
I'm losing my voice as I'm trying to present this workshop. I'm actively losing my voice. Okay. I think I'm good for another few minutes. My apologies.
Sure.
Yeah. We'll get through this. I apologize. I actually had a moment this morning when I thought, should I do this today? Should I cancel it? But
Okay.
anyway, I'm okay.
Because if you're not okay, and I know you said that you can provide us with the information,
I can.
with the link. Just let us know, okay?
Okay. Yeah. If
And
I
I'll make sure everybody gets. Okay.
okay.
Just
All right.
I'm here.
Okay. Thank you. I'm good for the time being. So we'll keep plowing through this, and I apologize 1,000 times. So anyway, so this coincides here. These capability statement must haves coincide with the capability statement questionnaire. So trying to move on to the next slide. If you're bidding on government contracts, you'll need to keep your capability statement updated to reflect your ongoing reach in the industry. And by reach, I mean your presence in the industry. The more work you do, the more work you get. So you're going to want to reflect that on your capability statement. Have you finished a big job, big project for an ALDOT prime contractor with some name recognition? You need to add them to your past performance section. Or have you acquired some new credentials or some new equipment or added a location? All of that should be updated on your capability statement. But also you want to tailor your capability statement according to what a particular agency is looking for, because they are not all looking for the same things. And this is similar to how you would handle a resume. You don't send the same resume for every job that you're applying for. You want to make sure you're hitting certain keywords and certain pain points in the industry, or you just want to tailor it. So, and you can do that as often as you like, but still maintain your branding elements. You don't need to reinvent the wheel once you have a primary document. The last bullet point says save and send as a PDF. I recommend using either Canva, or if you have some other design tool, and then sending it as a PDF. You can also create a capability statement in Word. Some people use Publisher, but either way, you should save it, send it as a PDF, because PDF is everybody can open a PDF. We're going to look at some capability statements. I mentioned Redmond. We looked at Blake Redmond's website in an earlier slide, and I mentioned, you may remember I said that it really needed a tagline. So I created a tagline, and I've incorporated it here in Blake's capability statement, because on his website he had safety, quality, and respect, and he had icons illustrating that and a paragraph below, and that's fine for the website, but it really needs to, since that was important for him to put on his website, why not put that in a tagline? And so I created this tagline, for better or worse, and I incorporated it into his capability statement. Blake has not seen this yet, so he doesn't know I've done this, and I also want to be honest here and tell you that I created this capability statement for Redmond Construction, and I'm really a conceited snob about my own work, because I've been doing marketing stuff for about 20 years, and I think of it as an art form, and I take a lot of pride in my own work. So there it is, my unmitigated self-love and unapologetic bias. But having said that, I really do think that this capability statement hits all the high points. We've used a call out box. Oops, hang on. We've used a call out box here. That's what this is, to emphasize his core competencies and differentiators. And some, a lot of times the differentiators and the core competencies kind of go under the same heading. And we've got all of the required information, and this is an important, and we've stayed true to his branding elements, the name, the logo, the color scheme, and the tagline, and all that together creates a value message. And what I mean by the color scheme here is, when I first started working with Redmond, all I had was his logo, So I had to use a tool to identify what color red this was, and then incorporate that color code into his capability statement. So I know that that's a little bit graphic designy, and if anybody ever has any questions about how I did that, feel free to either reach me through your DBE supportive services. I'm happy to provide little tips and tricks like that, but I don't want to overcomplicate this presentation with that kind of stuff. So the next sample, earlier I was talking about websites and how you shouldn't, wait a minute, I'm looking at the wrong one. Yeah, okay, sorry, I'm ahead of myself here. So this company displays its logo.
Number, each one of them got a number on there. It's a D, should be a D something.
Pardon me?
Oh, I'm sorry. I got a question in regards to when you have more than one, we'll say service craft, such as I do. I have a beauty profession, barber and beauty salon. I have landscaping and erosion control. Do I need a separate capability statement for each one of those, or can that be combined as one? And how would I separate those different services out on there?
Well, I'm not sure you need a capability statement for the hair. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you do, but definitely have at least two. One that doesn't have anything to do with hair. The erosion control and landscaping, I think you could get it under two unless there's something. I mean, I'm sorry. I think you could get all of that together under one capability statement. And I mean, it's good to have a work type diversity. So, I think in your case, one capability statement would work.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Sure. So this company displays its logo, and it's using a consistent color scheme. And it hits some of the information required on a capability statement, but there's a lot going on here that undermines the value. The biggest problem with this capability statement is the category they call company principles. I'm just gonna, yeah, this area right here. So it's hogging a huge amount of real estate for one. And if you want to list all of the important rock stars on your team along with their bios, this is not the place to do it. 7 people in their bios use up so much space where they should be talking about their core competencies and differentiators. So this capability statement is really lacking in substance. And it just doesn't make a strong value statement. And this is what I meant earlier when I was talking about, and we're going to see this on the next slide too. This is what I mean about saving some of this content for your website. So people don't need to see all this on a capability statement. You might list 1 or 2 of the principles, maybe the owner and the CEO, or however you have your corporate structure or your company structure, I mean. But you don't need to list 7 people and their bios. So, similar to a resume, a capability statement has required sections, and this is not one of them. So he does a good job in other ways. Like he's got his, let me turn off the magnifier. He's got his codes, and he's got his contact information, and some of these things here, but this is just such a waste of space. So he undermines his value, and he doesn't have anything about his bonding capabilities either. So sorry to pick on you, MBJ. So I wanted to talk about the good and the bad and the ugly on this one. First of all, this is a 2-page capability statement, and that's not necessarily a deadly sin, but the gluttony of text and the mixed fonts and colors and too many thumbnail-sized images, thumbnail meaning really small, it gives me motion sickness to look at this capability statement. Those things really need to be toned down. And similar to the last one we looked at, there's too much info here that should be on a website instead. So there are some positives. They're using their logo and they're staying true, if not a bit excessive, with their color scheme. They hit the main categories required on a capability statement, even if the headings are mislabeled. They use bullets to offset some of the data, which we haven't really talked about, but that's a good practice. They're displaying their certifications, the Hub Zone and the SBA. And while I think they use too many, I do like that some of their project photos appear to be recognizable landmarks. And that's smart. But what would be even smarter would be if they appeared on their website with explanations about what these are all about. So this is not the place for all of this information. So, you know, in summary, they have some brand consistency, but mostly it's just too busy. And it really should just be one page. So I'm going to end this section by going back to a previous slide where I suggest you keep your capability statement updated. I'm hopeful that the company that we just looked at has updated and streamlined theirs and maybe gotten a little bit of marketing advice from somebody. And one thing that I found as a so-called marketing artist is that my works of art improve over time, and yours will too. So you may take a stab at it and think, oh God, this is terrible. But, you know, keep trying. And I want to reiterate that what I said earlier about why you should be doing the text version of your capability statement first, before your website, before everything else. If you don't know what your capabilities are as a company, how can you decide how to market yourself? So putting together a capability statement requires that we define and state unequivocally what we have to offer. So no BS, just the facts. So your company started when? Your primary work types are these. And I say these to you, Mr. Morris, because I think hair is separate, but having more work types is, having more than one work type is ideal. Your unique assets are this and this and this. And in the past, I've done work for this company and that organization. So that's what your capability statement should include. And by examining all of that, you can see for yourself what you have to offer. And that makes it easier to move on to the other marketing and branding elements. It's time to order some business cards. So now that we have your capability statement and your logo, yeah, you want to have your logo before you order your business cards. And I think I mentioned before, Vistaprint is similar to Canva in that they provide templates for both horizontal and vertical business cards, which are standard. I don't recommend using non-standard shapes and, you know, what do you call it, gimmicky business cards. I think that undermines your credibility when you do that. So just stick to standard horizontal or vertical business card. There's less customization involved with business cards, but with Vistaprint, you can change fonts, meaning typeface, colors, and other styling elements. You can upload your own logo, and you can add and delete text. So I'm just going to zoom in on one of these. So like, you know, not everybody has, well, this is a bad one too. Let me look at this one here. Not everybody has a fax. Okay, I'm not finding fax on any of these, but in any case, well, here we go. Not everybody has a fax. Not everybody wants to put their full address. I like that this one here has a company message. So this is where you could put your tagline, your logo. Let's see, on Zoom. Yeah, so you can customize it a bit. And here's how you start your card design with Vistaprint. You put in some criteria, and for this example, I entered to create the ones you saw on the previous slide. I used I'm sorry, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. These are the criteria I entered: construction and repair, and I think I narrowed it down even further to excavation, to create the one you saw on the previous slide. I used the logo image that I created with Canva to insert into this card, and it's a little plain. This card's a little plain, but it doesn't need to knock your socks off. It just needs to easily communicate your brand, and this card meets that purpose of providing information on how to reach you by phone, email, and most importantly, your website. Any questions? Because I feel like I'm just kind of all over the place there. Here's an example of too much information and an all-around horrible business card. I think this is a fictional business. Don't do anything like this. Pay Vistaprint $20 or $30 for a package of nicely designed, brand consistent cards. I think you get 500 in a box. If you design something like this, I have failed in this presentation. So don't do this. Before I talk about setting up your online business listing, I just want to say this. A lot of businesses think that having a Google listing is enough and that it's a good substitute for a website. It isn't. And neither is just having a Facebook. So Google listing is only a listing, and that means you become searchable on the Google search engine. But when I'm looking for a paving company to seal my driveway, I'm only interested in the ones who have a website. And this actually supports something that I read the other day that suggested nearly 80% of people read and base purchasing decisions on online reviews. But again, a Google business listing is not a substitute for a website. You need a Google account to set up a Google business listing. It's super easy to set it up because Google prompts you for the required information and you're all set in literally a matter of minutes. From there, it takes about 5 days to get a verification code, but then you'll be live. And what you're looking at here is exactly what they ask for at the outset. You've already set up your website, ideally, and that's how you get that website icon we just looked at. Let me see if I can go back. Yeah, this right here. This is how you get that, by having a website and listing it when you're setting this up. So do not choose get a free website. For one, if you already have one, another one is not worth the hassle, even if it's free. And for another, Google's free website is horrible to edit and navigate. So it's awful. So don't do it, please. Once you get past the sign-up process on the previous slide, you'll come to your dashboard. And that's where the content from your capability statement questionnaire will come in handy again. Plus, you can upload the logo you created through Canva once your business is verified, which happens by way of a postcard that you get in the mail. Then you can populate these other categories. You'll definitely want to put in a description of your business, which makes it easier for Google to connect you to potential customers. You can add photos of your projects. You can write blog posts. And blog posts can be, a simple paragraph. Like you could, in the case of Mr. Morris's barbershop, you could say something in a blog post about new products, or in the case of a road construction, you can announce your new super cool curbing and curb and gutter machine. Sorry. Yeah. So optimizing all that the Google My Business tool offers will help elevate your rankings on the web. And that's actually, web rankings, I think, is one of my key terms. And so the more reviews you have, the more customers will come your way. The more content you have on both your website and in your Google listing, the more data Google has on your company, which also elevates your ranking. And Google Online Business Listing kind of works together with your website, and I wouldn't say it integrates the data that's on your website, meaning the text that's on your website, but somehow they're connected by some kind of internet magic that I can't describe in words. I understand it conceptually, but I don't know how to explain it. But the more content, the more text you have on your website, either behind your photographs or in your company descriptions, or, you know, in various places, seen and unseen on your website, the more Google can attach to that and help people find your business. So it's important to have those two things, a website plus a Google business listing. And by the way, Google business listing isn't the only business listing tool. There's Manta, there's Yahoo, and there's some others that are not coming immediately to mind, maybe Square. But can anybody name some others that they're listed on that I'm not thinking of here? All of that helps build your web rankings, and that's a good thing. Can other people name some of the business directories, online business directories? Okay, well, moving on. Let's see, I think, yeah, I didn't finish the slide yesterday. I'm gonna leave this slide up and ask you to review it while I open up questions and comments. That's pretty much all I have. I know that's less than 2 hours, but I wanted to leave some time to answer your questions, give you an opportunity to talk about your particular websites, your particular online presence and marketing stuff, your comments or questions. So I will say that these stats here that we're looking at, they're sobering if you don't have an online presence, and they're encouraging if you do. So anyway, what questions do you guys have before we conclude, or comments? Here is the list of resources, and I'm pretty sure these are live links, and if they're not, I will make sure. By live link, I mean if you open this slideshow, you can click on this either in PDF form or PowerPoint. This is a PowerPoint slide. So if nobody has any questions.
Christine,
Yes.
do those DBEs that need some assistance with working on their capability statements, do they have to be a part of the Mentor-Protege program to get that assistance from you?
To get my assistance, they do. But I mean, you're a DBE supportive services provider. I can give you a few tips about, you know, some of the tools that I've created, and then you can work with your own program participants. But unfortunately, yeah, they have to be in the program to get one-on-one assistance from a person. But not sure what that noise is. Any other questions? Okay, well, that concludes this this presentation. I thank you all for being here. I will get this converted to PDF and a recorded show that you guys can watch if you want to, or and the PDF will include information about where you can access some of these tools or all of these tools that we talked about, and then some. So thank you for attending, and have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
You're welcome.